Hi, guys, and welcome. My name is John Dew, and today I am going to be going over the MGTOW movement. Now, in working on my channel, The Wholehearted Man, and trying to lay the groundwork for what I hope to eventually achieve here, I came across some interesting articles and some things, and one of those was the MGTOW movement. So I'm fresh to this. I got to break it down. I've read some, but I got to really look at this. So I'm gonna start at the basics here and kind of go through it with you and give you my opinion, because I think these people are way off track. I think this is not good for anybody. I mean, maybe it's good for some, but it's not necessarily good in the way I think that they're putting women relationships into a certain light, and that light is not good. All right, so MGTOW stands for Men Going Their Own Way. It says the community is part of what is more broadly termed the manosphere. The MGTOW have vowed to stay away from women, stop dating, and not have children. They focus on men's self-ownership rather than changing the status quo through activism and protest. And they say they're distinct from the men's right movement. So, I've watched some videos and read some of their information, and it seems ridiculous, because these guys are talking about how women, a lot of them are gold diggers. I mean, they're using just negative language, calling them bitches and this and that. Now, are there bad women out there? Yeah, of course. Just like there's bad dudes out there. There's a lot of, well, I don't want to say a lot, but there are bad people in this world. And to come in contact with one or two, or more for that matter, but I think we'll get into that in a minute. But to come into contact with one of these people is to say that they represent a huge majority of, the women in society. And I think that's just ridiculous. I think these people don't have the skills necessarily to navigate those type of waters so that they can persevere into a healthy relationship. I don't think they understand what a healthy relationship is. And the reason this even bothers me that I'm even doing a video on this is because, to me, there's a lot of you young guys out there that are following this, and I'm seeing the responses, I'm seeing the comments and what have you, and a lot of it is just absurd. I mean, it's just downright not thought out. There's apparently no guidance going on. Are they correct in certain things they're saying, meaning that they've had, experiences with women and it's not gone so well? Sure, I believe that. But the way they're filtering and looking at them, as well as meaning, taking necessarily their own responsibility for what happened in that relationship, may not be happening with some of these people. And then again, there are women out there that are not nice. I've dated a couple of them that were not nice women. So I didn't come away from that thinking, oh my God, all women are bad, all women do this, because that's just absurd. There's a lot of good women, just like there's a lot of good guys like you out there. And I don't want this stigma of relationships and what have you to go on and be, proclamated across the land as this is what is, the new movement and what have you. It's a movement, and I think it's a very small movement. I think, they're up there with the flat earther society. Not that the numbers equate to, to the same, but I think that there's just a nonsense about it. Now, look, if this is what you want to do and you're really set on not having kids and not having relationships and whatever, okay, fine, great. That's awesome. More power to you. You're not hurting anybody by doing this. But I think people that get caught up in this, even if they come out of it later, they're not viewing women, in my opinion, properly. They're not viewing relationships properly. They're not seeing the world the way I think it is truly represented. I think they're going off of ideas that other people are putting in their head, or they've had, like I said, bad experiences. And so they're just climbing on this train, and they're just like, yeah, screw women. And they're all, this and they're all that. Well, again, that's just, the stats aren't there. I think there's a lot of damage that can be done with this, because people and women in particular in this instance and couples are a very natural thing, right? Obviously, women and men being together and us being attracted to them are a very natural thing, but us being able to know how to handle that, what to do with a woman, and how that whole mating ritual goes, and what it means to truly be a man, which is why I'm working on this channel, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are just lost. And I remember many years ago, I was on a fishing trip with some friends, and they were younger, and we had caught a bunch of fish. There's trout. We were up in the Sierra Nevada fishing, and when we were done, we brought them back to camp. And one of the younger guys is sitting there saying, what do we do with these? And it struck me. It dawned on me. It's like, these guys don't even know how to skin a fish. Not that that's a terrible thing, but I mean, no one's actually taken the time to teach them, to invest in them, because they love the act of fishing. They love the idea when or the when they caught the fish. They love the whole thing and eating it later. I mean, they just love the whole experience. But nobody showed them how to do this. So I was like, "Hey guys, here's what you do," and we gutted the fish and we skinned them and we cooked them and ate them. It was great. But I think that applies to a whole lot in society where men are, they're deemed in a negative light sometimes, right? You've had the Me Too movement and stuff like that, which is going after some of these bastards, which they should. But maybe it creeps over into other areas that it's not warranted. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't experienced any of that, but maybe you guys have. I mean, you can comment below and let me know. But at the end of the day, if you haven't had the right guidance and you haven't had the right, at least perspective given to you, to the lens through which you look at other people or relationships or women. I mean, technically this applies to anything, but in this case, relationships and women, and you're going through it with a false or a foggy, dirty, smudged up lens, you're not going to get a true picture. As I'm filming this right now, my camera's sitting in front of me. I get a lens, it's nice and clean. If I go up and slap Vaseline across the front of it, I'll look a little better because it'll fuzz me all out. But if I do that, you're not going to be able to see what's going on. You're going to see an image, you're going to see some movement, you're going to see some light and whatever, but it's going to be really hard to process. So if you go out into the world and there's people that you come across, again, this applies to anything, but you come across people, and in this instance, or this topic, women, which yes, is definitely definitely a different thing than guys, right? We go up around guys, we are guys, we get, how guys work. But when you go to the opposite sex, it's a lot harder. But it's not. It actually isn't. When you understand and know how the opposite sex works, I mean, it's fairly easy to get along and do the right thing by them. The challenge is finding a good person, just like their challenge is finding a good man, right? You think, oh, you guys are great, every single one of you, all of us are just awesome dudes, and no, because you go on any YouTube channel, and in the research I've seen as well, these guys, they're players, right? They're out there, they're just trying to score. They got all the pickup lines, they're pickup artists, right? And they're just trying to score women and just do and say whatever they need to do to get them into bed. I mean, that's disgusting. It really is. I get it in one sense. It's like, okay, but when it's a game, when it's just another notch on the bedpost, when this is all you're out there trying to do, that leaves you hollow inside. So, I mean, unless I'm missing something, you guys can let me know. But what is the big problem you guys are facing that would make you turn to something like this, that would taint you so badly on half of the human race, and to deem them so terrible? And kids are so terrible. I mean, did your daddy not hug you? Yeah, maybe he didn't, and maybe he should have, but that doesn't mean you can't. And it doesn't mean kids growing up in this next generation shouldn't be loved and hugged and shouldn't have the things that were not given to some of us when we were growing up. As that spills over, as maybe not having the best childhood spills over into a lot of this thinking, because that's what I believe, then you sit there and you have a bad reference point, right? Your lens is muddied by the past, and you're never going to see clearly. The goal in life is to see clearly, right? It's to actually get past where you are into a better viewing spot. And that comes through hard work, perseverance, and knowledge, and which eventually turns into wisdom. Okay, so as I'm looking through this, I see that there is basically 5 levels of the MGTOW movement. The level 0, they call it, is situational awareness. This is the lowest level of the MGTOW. At this level, a man is viewed as having swallowed the red pill, and thereby MGTOW advocates claim men at this level embrace the idea that gender equality is a lie and propaganda. If I read that for face value and put not much more or don't have anybody else's input into that, I mean, I could see, because, gender equality, I think the ability for genders to have the same equal opportunities is there. But as in Jordan Peterson says, the outcome of equality is not the same, and it never will be the same. Are there differences between men and women? Absolutely. We're striving, a lot of people I think are missing a boat, because they're striving to be equal in the areas of opportunity. But I think then it gets hijacked and taken over to the complete ultimate end of feminism, to where it's now the outcome of, or the equality of outcome. So everyone's supposed to be equal. I don't believe that for 1 minute. You look at women, you look at little boys growing up who've never touched a gun, and they shoot at each other, right? I have 2 daughters. I've looked at them. They've played maybe a little bit of guns, but at the end of the day, it's dolls, it's playing with houses, it's writing stuff, it's talking to the girlfriends. I mean, it is a completely different set. And you can't necessarily say, and I, without going into all the details in my instance, that is a pretty pure thing for my girls. They're not raised in a house where it's just all super pretty and everything is, just Stepford wife crammed down their throat. There's actually, in a way, none of that going on. And there's huge differences between them. So I think on the most basic fundamental level, that is not, it doesn't even happen. Okay. Level 1, rejection of long-term relationships. At this stage, a man rejects long-term relationships, but will still partake in short-term relationships and sexual encounters. Okay. Level 2, rejection of short-term relationships. A man does not meet women for hookups or any form of short-term or sexual relationships. So I guess at that point, it's just, I don't know, you're celibate. Is that the incel movement at that point? Economic disengagement. This is level 3. A member at this stage refuses to earn more money than is necessary for sustaining life. He views the government as tyrannical and trying to actively drain money from the bureaucrats. Okay. Well, there's probably some truth in that. It seems like each one of these is playing on a different fear of society. And, it's easy to get a mass movement going when you can just call out a common enemy. So as you dig deeper into this, right, short-term relationships, okay, it's hard to meet women and you're just trying to hook up, and some people aren't good at it and some people are, and those that aren't good at it, I can guarantee you those most likely are the ones that are buying into this stuff, at least at that stage. And then you go into the short-term, or sorry, I had that was a long-term relationship. So they're bad at that. Then they go into the short-term relationship, level 2. That ain't happening, because it's a lot tougher to just sit there and play the game. So you're saying no long-term relationships. At level 2, we can only have short-term relationships. Well, that's a harder thing to do. And then level 3, economic disengagement. So, you're a little snowflake. You don't want to try. You don't want to contribute to this world. Okay, fine. Are these people refusing to earn money and living at home and living off their parents', couch or their parents' hard work? Is that what some of these guys are doing? I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case in a few of these. Not all, not even necessarily the majority. but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a decently small percentage that's happening there. And then you go into level 4, societal disengagement. Here, the man refuses to interact with society any more than ever, such as by living off the grid in a cabin. So the Unabomber, right? You're the Unabomber shack. You're sitting there and you just completely rejected society. And now you're going to go live in the woods somewhere. Again, okay, you can turn on Discovery Channel, I think it is. And there's tons of these Alaskan wilderness shows where, you know, people are living out in the middle of nowhere and living by themselves. And that's fine. To each their own. If you want to go do that, that's great. But again, when you're using it under the guise to taint, you know, the basic laws of humanity, which is a man and a woman, and the attraction, undeniable attraction there, I think you're going down a bad path, man. And when you try to indoctrinate other people into this, it's not good for anybody, because a lot of people may come and go out of this, but never stay. And the people that do that, they're getting sucked in. That's just, you're wasting your time. You're giving up. You're buying into something that it's not happening. This is basically snake oil from what I can tell. And you're buying into something, a way of life, a way of being that most likely you're not going to stick with, because you'll be like, yeah. And then you'll meet that girl and she'll come along and you'll be like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm going to push pause on this for a while. And next thing you know, you get married and have a couple kids and whatever. Or you're on the flip side of this, or the back side of this, and you've been there, you've had kids, and you got hurt so bad, you got maybe legitimately screwed over, and you're hurt so bad that this is the way you're going to rectify your particular situation, which is also bullshit, because you've got to learn how to navigate life. Life's not just perfect and easy. It requires hard work. And this world needs men like you. It needs people that are going to take a blow to the ego, take a blow to the pocketbook, and stand up and keep going and not just give in. So I'm going to wrap this up here, but I'm just looking at this whole MGTOW movement, and it's just it's not sitting right with me. So this is John Dew. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button, please, and like, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.